Per usual, living on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. It is Wednesday. Let's take a look at some altcoins. We've got ourselves a little bit of an altcoin mini rally on our hands, mainly led by BTC. A lot of flows from the ETFs yesterday on BTC, less so from ETH, plus 750 on BTC, plus 125, I think it was, for ETH. Monero still running. Alts doing okay. They're not up 2x BTC, which is what you want to see, but they're moving in the right direction at the very least. And here's the old dominance chart. I'm still on the bearish dominance train until we're above 61. If we get above 61, alts are not going to have a good time because that just means more money coming out of the risk stuff into the risky or less risky stuff, right? AKA BTC. One would think, similar to the Mag 7 and IWM analogy, that BTC is up as much as it is relative to alts, and there's some relative value plays there that may be more attractive to people than BTC. However, if the flows are not able to get to the altcoin market, or if stablecoins are not printing, then we're not going to see those flows and liquidity into the altcoin market. So it really depends on who can pick up the slack here on the crypto native side to push alts higher. Still possible. I still think it's likely based on how this looks today, but that may change in a week from now. But there's definitely head and shoulders on dominance, undeniably, and it's also below the cloud. So if you're an altcoin maxi, the worst thing you could see here coming up into Q2 would be 62% dominance. Then you might have a bad time. But how this is set up, a year-long head and shoulders, this looks like it's going lower. And again, similar to IWM versus QQQ, same story. IWM is green on the day, at least it was, and QQQ is red on the day. I think that's what we may see to a lesser degree on the crypto side. We're not going to see red BTC, green alts, but you would think 2x BTC performance on the alt side should be pretty easy to do if we got the money to do it in the ecosystem. On the inverse chart, total 2 minus stables over BTC, it's the same story. This is setting up as an inverted head and shoulders. The cloud likes it as a breakout. If this, then that. If this can get above the cloud, then you got a breakout on your hands. And it's the first time really since 2021 that price has potentially held above the 3-day. So I'm zoomed way out. I'm not looking at this on the 4-hour, the daily. I don't care about any of that. Give me a real deal signal on a high time frame. The reason I'm waiting for it on a high time frame is because when it does pop, you can afford to just wait. Give it a week, give it 2 weeks, just to be sure. Because the upside here is potentially extremely significant versus just sitting in downside chop waiting, right? So to me, it doesn't really pay to be early in alts. It just doesn't matter because the trade is so fat, you can afford to just wait. You can wait to board the train when the train's about to take off or after it's even already taken off in some cases. Here's total 2 on the USD side. This is basically what we're seeing on some alts. We'll take a look at everything I have on the Kraken list today, but you're getting this edge-to-edge move that still has a decent way through the cloud here, 20%, 25%, whatever it is. Some of these even more. So I don't hate alts here, just like I don't hate BTC here. And that's what I probably said last week. If BTC can hold 93 and get above 93, alts get a lot more attractive. It's just that when we were consolidating and getting smacked down every day on the BTC side, that wasn't very encouraging for bullish continuation. So it's a bit of a different story over the past 48 hours. Stablecoins, USDC and USDT, really haven't been printing a lot lately. So for alts to do best, you'd really want this to start to take off. Now that may happen after the Clarity Act or the Genius Act or whatever, but if I'm looking for things that are tailwinds for alts, it's definitely stables printing. It's definitely flows in general coming into the ecosystem because it definitely feels a little lethargic after October 10th. And then just some things around the edges. NFTs look good here. I probably said that like 6 months ago, but I'd argue inverted head and shoulders here on CryptoPunks, Bored Apes turning up quite a bit. Pudgy's also turning up quite a bit. So I don't own any. I probably will never own any, but I don't hate speculating on NFTs here a little. Just as a leveraged play, this is where people get into trouble. They just go like ham into NFTs and then they go belly up, right? But if you're bullish ETH or alts in general for the next 6 to 12 months, it is a play to consider. And the trusty watch chart is also bottomed and bouncing off of the Feb 24. So it's almost been a year now, actually, that it's been bouncing, which is pretty good. And similar to NFTs, it's the same type of money, same market. If you look at like Pokemon cards, other TCGs, those continue to do very, very well relative to crypto, relative to altcoins. And I'd argue it's the same type of money into those type of products as you'd see in alts. For the charts themselves, BTC certainly leading the pack. Now there's some stuff around the edges, but if you just scroll this list on the left, there is not a lot that is up 2x BTC. There's not a lot that's up even more than BTC. So what's the point? That's the problem with alts right now. They're not leading in a substantial way. Now you have a few here and there. Monero, hopefully many people caught that. Thanks to whoever it was who pointed it out weeks ago, and myself who's been trumpeting the Monero chart for a long time. But other than that, there's really not much meat on the bone here. It's just not worth it. Why take the extra risk if you're not getting paid the extra reward? It just doesn't make sense. So for BTC, ascending triangle, Adam and Eve, edge to edge, I like 103. I'm currently in Metaplanet. I'm currently in IBIT calls. I plan on getting rid of the IBIT calls at 103. I'll be holding the Metaplanet. I might rotate into spot BTC at that point at 103 with the calls. I don't know. But I like being patient here. I like just watching this play out over the next couple weeks, and maybe we get a tariff ruling and it comes all the way back down. Maybe we attack Iran and it comes all the way back down. I don't know, right? But I think you got to let this breathe a little bit, have some patience, because the reward side of the equation is still pretty substantial for BTC. And the big thing was we didn't make a new lower low. So consolidate here, whatever, that's fine. But below 87, then we get into some dangerous territory. Now ETH is actually up more than Sol. So I picked the wrong horse yesterday. I thought Sol would be up more, but similar story to ETH here. Ascending triangle, Adam and Eve, edge to edge in the cloud. Not trend bullish, just super important. You know, this picture so far is not July, June. It is not yet. Now it could get there. It could definitely get there. But this is where people get into trouble. They're like, oh man, this is it. This is the one. ETH is going to 9K or whatever. I wouldn't be so confident just yet. You know, let's see how this plays out with the fibs. Again, we're talking like 3,800, 4,000. That's still a great trade near term, but I wouldn't get married to long-term ideas just yet on anything. But I like ETH here. I like opens. I like ads. It looks good, undeniably. Yesterday I bought, along with IBIT calls, I bought Sol and leveraged Sol, mainly because of this. I mean, it's got, to me, this works, yeah. It's got a decent potential here, bigger than ETH, bigger than BTC, of this edge-to-edge move through the cloud. That's really why I liked it. Now, an alternative would be something like this, some sort of shoulder. I don't know, you know, anything below 130, and it's probably not happening anytime soon, aka more consolidation. But I like how this is set up. I like how it's out of the channel. I like how it made this pseudo inverted head and shoulders. I like how it's potentially getting into the cloud with the bullish TK cross. So I do like the setup here on Sol, better than ETH, better than BTC. It is a riskier play, to be clear, but I still like this among the top three, better than BTC and ETH here, which is why I added some exposure. Ripple, and I guess most of the stuff down the list, I don't really see anything here. You know, like, it doesn't inspire me like a lot of this other stuff does. Monero speaks for itself. Really nothing to say, nothing to add. I like this to 900. I like this to 1200. I like this to infinity right now. It doesn't really matter. You know, we're pushing all-time highs every day. What do I care where this goes from here? Even on the daily, there really is not a point where you'd even place a trailing stop loss, in my opinion. So, you know, it took 10 years to develop. Let it breathe a little bit. I got nothing to say, nothing to add. I don't hate buying dips. I would be careful of leverage though, because it is up in a short amount of time, quite a bit. SWI also, again, depends on the exchange, depends on the chart you're looking at. I don't hate this. I don't love it. Again, it's like the question I'm always asking myself is how much am I going to throw at this dollar-wise, percentage allocation-wise? Enough to matter? Probably not. So it's like, okay, next chart, right? You know, there's nothing really else to say there. Zcash, I'm not touching. It's not for me, but it is, I guess, consolidating. I would rather buy more Monero, personally. It's a better coin, fundamentally. Maybe there's some sort of triangle here. I like 540. A little too wishy-washy for me. It's already up a bunch. LTC, I got nothing here. It's below the cloud. Maybe you can hope for a inverted head and shoulders or something. It just, again, like, what are we doing here, right? There's plenty of stuff that's working. Sol looks great. ETH looks great. BTC looks great. It has to look amazing down the stack here for me to care. We're not there yet. We're just not there yet. Cardano also setting up for an inverted head and shoulders through the cloud. Maybe another consideration. I think it's a little early on that one. Tau, again, trying to inverted head and shoulders. What is the trade here? I don't see a lot of confident setups down the stack. Link, ascending triangle, inverted head and shoulders, Adam and Eve. You can see all of that here with your pattern matcher that evolution gave you over the past 16 million years or whatever it is. But yes, it's got an ETF now, or many. I don't know. I'd rather just play Sol, right? Just buy more Sol. That's just me. AVAX was another one. Probably the cleanest inverted head and shoulders, probably the cleanest edge to edge. Now, if you want to play these based on percentages or risk reward, this is probably up there as an option. Do I like this better than Sol? Probably not, but it's close. It's real close just how this looks. It does look really, really good relative to everything else. Render, no. Again, trying to bottom here. I'd rather buy Sol or AVAX. HBAR also trying to bottom. I like Sol or AVAX more. Tron already made its way through the cloud, so congrats if you caught that. I don't see anything to do there at the moment. ENA up a bunch today. Again, trying to inverted head and shoulders here. Trying. If ETH can take off and ETH funding can take off higher, ENA typically does well. If you think about ETH June, July, that's when ENA did really, really well. Whether that's beta of ETH or whether that's relative to the funding, whatever. There could be a trade here from a quarter to 2 quarters, right? A double, maybe, if you play it smart. I think it's probably a little early for that, probably closer to February, and highly dependent on what ETH is doing. Aave, I don't see anything there. Dot, again, similar story. It's kind of a mess, kind of there, kind of isn't. Better than other stuff? Probably not. Tia, again, like, look, it's undeniable. You're seeing bottoming processes try. Whether or not they play out is another question, but you're seeing that a lot on these charts. FET, a little bit of an Adam and Eve. I just don't feel comfortable throwing any money at anything other than BTC, ETH, Sol, Monero, AVAX. That's just me. People aren't going to like that answer, but that's just me. Again, near, trying to bottom. Curve, okay, this is another candidate. We'll throw this hat in the ring as well. I like the rounded bottom here. Maybe there's something with the Genius Act or whatever relative to stablecoins that to think about here. Looks okay. Looks okay. I like Solar AVAX better. Algo, same deal. Same, So I guess the key is here picking maybe 3 to 5 and hoping you pick the right one. Atom also trying to make its way through the cloud. I think a lot of people they throw everything at one thing and go 10x long and hope for the best, which is also a strategy. ARB, again, trying to bottom there with the rounded bottom, inverted head and shoulders. Ray, same thing. Ray, what is this, 120 to 240? Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's a decent risk reward setup as well. A Sol beta. Ton, messy, trying to make its way through. A lot of these charts just trying to retrace 1010 at this point. INJ also just trying to do something. Nothing inspiring there. Rune, apt, no. And you just know, like, 1 or 2 of these that I'm apathetic on are going to go hog wild, and it just is what it is. CRO also trying to bottom there. Neckline at 11 cents. Doesn't look like it's actionable to me at this moment. Syrup above the daily cloud, more than you can say for most of these things, but still don't love it. Pith, HNT, definitely not. STX, trying. MNT, definitely not. Kaito, no. Wormhole, no. SNX, no. I think undeniably all of these are not in a bull market. They're not bullish. They are trying to bottom. They're trying to go from bear to bull. I think that's as far as you'd go. For memes, Doge, again, trying to bottom with inverted head and shoulders. Fartcoin, sure. Hot Air Rises, not for me. Pepe, whatever, not for me. Pengu, okay. Again, like you have a decent structure set up here. It's a multi-month, if my pointer will work. Multi-month inverted head and shoulders or whatever through the cloud. 13 to, I mean, that's a 2x, right? Maybe you rotate something into that from Monero or something, right? I'm just talking to myself here. That's an idea. I'd put that one on the list. Not bad. Whiff, kind of messy. Bonk, SPX, trying to do something, but I just don't care. Maybe a double bottom. Shib, no. Trump, no. Dog, no. I mean, how many more do we need? Floki, no. Mog, trying, but these all just look very similar. So it's hard to know which one will do better. Toshi. And then on the BTC pairs, I do like Sol BTC here. is a potential edge to edge. Another reason to buy Sol over BTC. ETH BTC trying to make its way through. Just so messy. So messy. Not trending. That's why I like Sol better as the meaner version here. And it may take you into February. I may be stuck in this thing for a minute, but I still like the potential. Ripple, definitely not. LTC, BTC, no. PAXG, kind of a head and shoulders there on gold BTC. Interesting. Good for us, to be clear. Tron, ADA, no. There's just nothing. There just ain't nothing here, folks. Now, there is something on Monero BTC. We talked about this. There's a weekly inverted head and shoulders upsloping. Important to note, because that's usually more bullish than not. And it has played out through the cloud to the target. It's going to be interesting if we can get a move outside of 01, because that's when you know there's a real rally on our hands. 01 was basically the ceiling from 2019 to 2022. So I'd expect us to consolidate a little bit around 01 and then make a decision. Maybe somewhere else to consider taking some off the table. So all in all, Sol, AVAX, BTC, ETH, Pengu. Have I ever talked about Pengu as a trade? I don't know. But it's there. You know, memes are there. This is an upsloping 2x potential. People are going to love this. It does look pretty good in Monero, of course. That's all I got for this one. Give me a like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.